page 4.
I'm at 4.
What is your name first?
My name is Clemens.
Okay, and you're the defendant, your mom?
Correct.
And you're gonna represent yourself today?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you want to explain?
What do I want to explain?
Yeah.
As in why the grandmother's here, or
Okay, yeah, well, grandma's here, where's dad?
Dad's incarcerated.
For how long?
I'm not sure. He did have a joint suspension sentence, so I'm not quite sure how long he got.
Now, the grandma, she filed a petition for guardianship,
Apparently, yes.
and where is that gonna be heard?
It was heard at family court.
Okay.
It was on the first floor, courtroom 19, I believe.
And what happened?
She had to serve her son with paperwork, and they postponed it until August 22nd.
Okay. And you filed an opposition to that?
No, I was never served with paperwork.
Okay.
I found out about it on my own.
Have you been served now?
With paperwork, no. The judge said because I was there that she didn't have to serve me with any paperwork, because I already knew about the court date. But I haven't received that paperwork from the original. I've received the August 22nd paperwork, but not the original motion.
Okay, were you in jail yourself?
No, 2 years ago I was.
Okay. For what?
I was working at a medical marijuana dispensary, and I didn't. My boss led me to believe that he was an ex-FBI agent and that it was legal, and apparently it wasn't. But I actually finished my court case on that, and they told me as long as I don't get in trouble, 120 days gets taken off my record.
What are we talking about? One child?
Yes, one child.
How old's the child?
He's 3 years old.
What's the child's name?
Robert Woolard Jr.
And where's that child?
I still haven't seen him. I believe he's with his grandmother. I left town to go to California. I have 2 other children, and they're in California right now. And I left town after being up here for a week visiting my son. And I left town, and when I came back, I couldn't get a hold of anyone, of the father, of the grandmother, of my child. So I filed a police report.
Where do you live? You live in California now?
I go back and forth between the 2, but yes, I do.
Okay. Why can't you see her grandma? Come on up. Why can't you see her child?
I have a protective order from CPS. The day that I guess she went to the school with all her legal documents to pick up the baby, which she didn't need because she was still on there to pick up the she could pick up the baby on her days. I was expecting a phone call from my daughter about her heart. Well, I got the phone call, it wasn't good. So let me back up. It was water day. I forgot.
No, let's not back up.
Oh, okay.
I don't want a whole history of what happened that
Oh,
day. I
okay.
want to know why
They told me she couldn't see him until after the settle of the guardianship. That's what CPS told me.
Why? What's CPS involvement in this?
The involvement is because I sent I called Sergeant Fronti of the missing children, and because I couldn't get a hold of her. I've called. She hid her car somewhere else. It's been hidden out of her driveway for 2 weeks. I've been trying to find my child, and so he went and actually he was able to locate her and find her. Well, then she tried to say that I don't know what she said about me, but apparently they took my child to Child Protective Services. I was called an hour and a half before I was supposed to be in court. The day of court by the caseworker, I suppose.
And what's the case about?
Where the child should go until this court date.
Are there any charges against you?
No.
Any allegations of abuse or neglect?
No.
What is CPS involved?
Because she called and said missing persons. I did not know she was in town until I called. I went to my friend's house because they told me They couldn't do any surgery on my daughter. Her heart wouldn't stand it. I went to pieces. I went to my friend's house. She said, stay here, Tony, until you settle in and everything else. Monday or Tuesday, when I called the school, that's when they told me that Nicole was there with a friend with all the legal papers to pick up the baby.
She withdrew my child from school and everything.
One at a
I'm
time.
sorry.
Ma'am, first, what is your name?
Oh, Antoinette Woolard.
Can you spell your last name for the clerk?
Woolard.
Okay. Is there any reason she cannot see her child today?
Other than CPS says no.
Okay.
She has not. There was one phone call on my message that she said she was going to file.
But why does CPS say no if there's no
I have
charges?
no idea, Your Honor. I really don't, other than that they were scared that she was
So
going to
do
take
you have any problem with her seeing her child?
No, she's more than welcome to come to my house and see the baby. And I am still going to go forward on guardianship because Robert gets out on the 15th. I was told on July 1st that she had to go to court. Then I heard July 8th. Now, I don't know what was going on between those two parents. So my concern was my grandson. So I went down and filed just guardianship. That's all I wanted. I don't want to adopt them or anything else. Both parents can come and visit. They can have what say so there is. I have no problem with that.
Well, when is that court?
The 22nd.
Okay.
I had to-
You're gonna go to that court?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I have 50-50 custody of my child as it is. I don't understand why I can't see my child, why my child was withdrawn from school, why he was kept from me, why I still haven't seen my son I've been in town. I was in town. I've been in town. I was living up here, trying to get a hold of her with my son. She
Where are
wouldn't
your
answer
other
the phone.
children?
My other children, they're with my mother down in California right now.
How long are you gonna be here in town this time?
As long as it takes to see my son. I've been trying to get my son back. That's what I've been doing up here. So my mother volunteered to take care of my other two children until.
Well, right now, I'm gonna order that mom get her child back until August 22nd. And then they can go to the guardianship. If the guardianship commissioner wants to change it, fine. I don't see any reason why the child can't be with her mom.
Does that mean that she can take him out of state? Clark County? Your Honor?
In our paperwork, it says that we have 50-50 custody. The father is incarcerated. It says that on our days, we are allowed to take the baby out of Clark County. That's what it states clearly in our custody paperwork, which I included in any paperwork that you might have.
Sorry.
You wanna see this?
I don't know what it is.
I don't know, some letter.
It's a letter from my son giving me permission because I didn't know if I had to go to California on an emergency situation. That's why I pulled the baby out of school. And he sent me this letter. And he also has to have, I took him to the doctor yesterday for his annual checkup, and he has to have blood work done.
Which I can do for him.
I'm gonna have mom have the child till August 10th. She can take the child to California. On August 10th, she needs to bring the child back to grandma, and grandma can keep the child till August, are you working?
No, currently I'm not. I'm actually trying to get a job with my mom with Mattel.
You can come back and pick up the child on August 16th, and you can keep the child till you go to the guardianship commissioner.
Thank you very much.
So, do you understand the order, ma'am?
Yes.
She picks up the child now, keeps the child till August 10th, which is a Saturday.
And where would the child be at?
with her mom.
And that is where? I have several different addresses for her.
You need to give her a phone number and address.
That's fine.
So right now,
Okay.
put it on the record where you're gonna be in
At
Las
my mother's
Vegas
house.
and where you're gonna be in California.
Okay.
Hold on, she'll need some paper and pencil to write it down.
Yes. I need. And let her write it for me, that way she says I doesn't.
She needs to say it so it's in the record.
I can say it if I write it for her. Sure. I need a piece of paper to actually write it on.
Sit down and write it first, and then after you write it, give it to her, then you can put it on the record. And
My son gets out on the 15th, Your Honor, of this month.
We also have 50-50 custody now.
well, that's good.
Okay, oh, well, I thought maybe
When? When does he get out?
the 15th.
He'll see on the 16th. Oh no, the 10th. The 10th is when he sees him. I forgot. Okay. And I pick him up on the 16th.
Can we keep him until the 22nd for his father can have some time with him?
Well, you're gonna get him on the 10th, and you'll have him for 6 days.
But his father wouldn't.
Yeah, the father, I'm sorry, he gets in jail, number one, that's not my problem. Number two, he gets out on the 15th.
Yes.
So he'll have the 15th and 16th, if he gets out on the 15th. And then you're gonna all go to court and the guardianship court. And why is your son in jail?
Got a bad drug test. Gee, I wonder why.
I have the information.
Okay, give her the paper.
Okay.
Is that the Vegas and the California
I have
phone
both.
numbers and addresses?
Both addresses and phone numbers. Would you like me to state them?
Yes.
The one in Vegas is my son's, and Robert Dale cannot go there.
Who?
Robert Dale Jr., this is my son's address. I have a protected order against him,
You do, not my son. You don't have.
and
custody of my
he
child.
is violent.
No, he's not.
Who? Who are you talking about?
John Woolard, the local address.
Just wait.
You have a restraining order against who?
My son John, where she's gonna take my grandson.
Who is Mr. Woolard?
Johnny Ray Woolard is my oldest son,
That's your oldest son,
yes,
and you have a protective order against him.
yes.
My son doesn't.
What?
My son doesn't have a protective order against him. I'll be going to California anyway, to my mother's house. I can give you a different address, that's fine.
I don't know, I have
It's his
several different addresses for her, so I really don't know where, you know, I mean, she gives
My
my
mother's
son's
house.
address, and she knows that I can't go there, and Robert Jr. should not go there. She knows this. And so I don't know, you know, another local address?
Are you gonna be here local, or are you gonna be in California?
I'm gonna go to California to my mother's house.
And that's your mother's address?
My mother's address is 1645 Steinhardt Avenue,
Is
Redondo.
that what you just gave her?
No. Oh, yeah, I gave it to her on the
Yeah,
top.
she gave it to me, then she gave me a local address too.
She's gonna be in California. Do you have a phone number for California?
I gave her my phone number, I gave her my mother's phone number.
You have those numbers?
Yeah, well, I have two phone numbers here, but she
Okay.
didn't, so I'm gonna assume that's what they are.
Okay. And you keep the child till August 10th. You need to have the child back here on August 10th by 7 p.m.
Okay.
Where are you gonna change the child today?
Oh, what time is she gonna come by?
Immediately.
I'll give you to 1:30 so you can have lunch.
Till 1:30, I'm able to go pick him up.
Do you guys wanna meet for lunch someplace?
No. No, sir, I do not want to meet for lunch.
Do you have any other members of your family? How many you got? We got Mr. Johnny Woolard, and then what's your son's name?
Albert Willard.
Robert Woolard.
Robert?
Robert's the father of Robert Jr.
Okay. So 1:30, where?
She can come by my house and pick him up.
Okay, so 1:30, you go by her house and pick them up. She's gonna drop the child off on August 10th at 7 p.m. Where?
My house.
Okay. And then,
Oh, you know what? Excuse me. Social service is coming out tomorrow to do another house check.
well,
and
they can
for
check the
baby.
house. They can check the house.
What about, is the baby supposed to be there?
No, they can check the house.
Okay.
You can tell them what the judge ordered.
Okay.
Okay, you can tell her where the baby is. If you can remember, tell her where the baby is. It's with the mom in California. Judge
Okay.
Ochoa ordered that she could have her baby until August 10th. And then you can give the phone number that she just gave you and the address where the baby is.
So,
Okay.
so after all that happens, then what, after the guardianship court, then what happens? Because he, the judge that we had, actually, he said that you were his boss and that you would decide everything. So I don't understand what's gonna happen after the 22nd.
Well, there's nothing gonna happen after the 22nd.
Then it's just gonna be back to the old court order, the 50-50.
We're gonna give you a return date right now.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
But I think the only thing you filed was a motion to modify custody, and that was based upon his arrest.
I also found a petition to move out of the state.
Oh,
I have that. I have the whole packet right here.
have you filed it?
I guess I filed it.
I don't think I have it.
You don't have it? I have one for you if you'd like. I have one for her too if she'd like, and I have 3 copies.
Well, you need to
Actually, I asked for
give her
when we
one copy.
record on the 18th.
Give her a copy, and you need to give that to your son.
Yes, sir.
You have a copy for her?
Yes, I have a whole packet of everything I filed. Actually, let me make sure I have the original ones, please. No, they're not. I have another court date on August 26th for that. They gave me another court date.
August 26th. Is that the date on there, August 26th?
It's on the back, it's in the back right here. I'll show you.
So we're gonna change that date to September, so the father can get out of jail and file a reply.
Okay,
So sometime in mid-September.
it's right here, if you'd like to see.
Write this date down. Both of you need to write the date down.
September 12th.
Grandma,
Oh, I'm sorry, I was,
I know, not paying attention. September?
Sorry.
September 12th at 9:30.
Write it on the first page right there. September what?
12th at 9:30.
In this courtroom?
In this courtroom. That's the day your son needs to be here to discuss her motion to relocate to California. So before that day, he should file a reply to what those documents. If he wants to file an opposition or a reply to those documents you have in your hand,
yes.
you'll have until that 5 days before that date to file a reply.
That's my grandson's birthday. Is that funny or what? Sorry,
Well, none of this is too funny, really.
it's Junior's birthday.
Here's what we're gonna do. If your son gets out of jail, we're gonna go back to the original custody order until further changes by the court.
Okay.
So you need to get a copy, your son needs to have a copy of what the order was that they were living under with the visitation and custody.
I have the
Until-
copies
Okay,
here.
until we got arrested. And then we're not gonna make any changes until we come back and discuss it on that day. I don't know what the guardianship commissioner's gonna do. 90%, he's gonna say, mom's here, there's no reason for grandma to have a guardianship.
Well, I didn't know what was happening with her.
I understand you had good
Yeah.
intentions, and I'm not criticizing you. I think you should have done what you did, and it's better than doing nothing. But, you know,
the way I looked at it, bailsmen came to my house a couple days before that, and then,
That's true.
it is true.
They don't
Well,
even
don't
have,
talk to each other.
Sorry.
And
they don't even have an open thing for me anymore.
And so, well,
okay,
I
you don't
just-
have any bail, you don't know
No.
anything about that?
No, actually, I called when I heard about this, and I called the bail bondsman, and they said we don't even have anything open for you anymore.
Well,
I mean, it's
I
been
don't
2
even-
years. It's been 2 years since I was.
Well, maybe they told you a fib looking for your son.
well, I told them where my son was at.
Yeah,
So, but they came and asked for her.
yeah.
I actually go back November 4th for sentencing, and it gets taken off my record when I go back.
For what?
For the medical marijuana case, it's a possession of marijuana. As long as there's nothing happens in 120 days, it gets taken off my record completely.
So, when he gets out, we go back to the original order. Until then, mom will have the child definitely from August 1st to August 10th. Nothing will change. She'll have the child for those period of time. Then, if he's still in custody, she comes back, and you will have the child from August 10th at 7 p.m. to August 16th at 4 p.m. And I said 4 p.m., that'll give her time to pick up the child and go back to California. If the dad's not out. If the dad's out, then we'll go back to the order, and I don't know who has the date, who has visitation on that date.
Okay.
You guys have to look at the order and determine that.
Okay.
Depends. Oh, yeah, I'm like you. You have to look at the calendar to see.
Okay.
So I pick him up on the 16th at 4 p.m. until the 22nd when we go to
Right.
the guardianship court.
Right.
Okay.
If dad's
On
not
the
out of jail.
16th.
If dad's not out of jail.
Right. If dad's out of jail, then you would go back to the order,
Okay. Then 3.5 days and 3.5 days.
whatever the order is, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So she picks him up on the 16th
If dad's not out of jail at 4 p.m.
at 4 p.m.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Page 2 will be next, Your Honor.
Do you want any, just the minutes to stand as the order?
What?
The minutes will stay as the order?
Yeah. What page?